We often hear on the news as well that they found a meteorite with bacteria on, or there's a moon on a planet that seems to be producing a gas that shows there's organic life on the surface. Is this organic life, has it been transported from the Earth onto the meteorites or onto the distant moons of planets within our solar system, and it's producing these gases? I mean, what's your take on that?
That's a possibility, but it's also a possibility that these molecules that they're finding are by abiotic processes.
Right.
Because there are ways you can make those gases abiotically. And, in the recent announcement that they found phosphine, that's now debated. People are wondering, did they really find it?
Okay.
But they're finding it at parts per billion. I mean,
so very small amounts.
Very tiny amounts. And for example, we know enough about the chemistry of interstellar molecular clouds that we recognize these building blocks of life molecules are being manufactured in these clouds. But there's also chemistry that destroys them almost as rapidly as they're made, which is why we're not finding them at 100 parts per million. In fact, the discovery of phosphine, it was 40 parts per billion.
Right.
And somebody said, wait a minute, it's only 20 parts. Now they're wondering whether they found it at all.
Okay.
And so, and if they're at that low level in abundance, it's of no help to any conceivable naturalistic origin of life model. On the other hand, we're talking within our solar system. It's inevitable because of how long and abundant life has been here on planet Earth. Earth has infected the whole solar system.
Yeah.
And so I wrote an article, a dozen years ago, basically saying we need to go back to the moon because the moon is Earth's attic.
Yeah.
And we know there's 20,000 kilograms of Earth rocks and Earth soil on every 100 square kilometers of the moon.
Wow.
And 1 ton of Earth rocks and soil contains about 100 quadrillion microbes. And Earth's geology has destroyed the fossils of Earth's first life, but the moon has essentially no geology. We can go to the moon and we will find the fossils of Earth's first life. And atheists have a very different idea of what those fossils will look like compared to theists. I got to speak on this subject at NASA Houston to the scientists and astronauts there and said, you guys need to go to the moon. Let's forget about Mars, go back to the moon with a different mission, and you'll be able to prove who got it right, the theists or the non-theists. And last time I checked, that made up 100% of the U.S. taxpayer base. So this ought to be a thrilling achievement for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe it sounds like a silly question, but how did all of the Earth matter and organic material get up onto the moon?
Oh, well, through meteoritic bombardment.
Yeah.
I mean, every time an asteroid, a comet, or a meteor of sufficient size impacts the Earth, it will cause Earth material to be dispersed.
Flung up, yeah.
So we're going to find the remains of Earth life on Mars. We're going to find it on the moon. We're going to find it in the upper atmosphere of Venus. But probably the best place to look for it is on the moon. It's received the greatest supply.